Good morning. It is 4:37. Turning to farm news now this morning. This month's Creighton University Rural Main Street Index slumping from February's weak reading. Ernie Goss works in economics for Creighton. He says the stronger U.S. dollar undermining the farm and energy sectors by weakening ag exports, crop and livestock prices. The Rural Main Street Index, which ranges between 0 and 100, down to 43.6. Lowest level since February of 2010 and down from last month's 46.4. Last Friday, an agency of the World Health Organization issued a study which fuzzily categorized glyphosate, the main ingredient in the herbicide Roundup, as probably carcinogenic. As Nick Janes reports, it won't change the day-to-day business of food production.
Dan Silva uses popular herbicide Roundup in his Yuba City orchards.
For sustainable agriculture, it's a product that we need and we rely on.
The World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer released a new report saying glyphosate is, quote, probably carcinogenic. The study, a review of existing research, concludes there is, quote, limited evidence the main chemical in Roundup can cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and lung cancer.
I think principally your larger agricultural operations that need it in order to facilitate their day-to-day operations are going to continue to use it.
And so will Dan. The third-generation farmer believes wholeheartedly the product is safe.
We're 108 years into this business, and over time I can see what we used to use in my father's time and my grandfather's time. Today, we're much, much softer, and I think Roundup is a soft product.
I think it is either politically motivated or it is an organization looking for a headline.
Renee Pinnell is the CEO of the Western Plant Health Association, a Sacramento-based nonprofit trade organization.
Would you recommend that anybody stops using Roundup?
Absolutely not.
She criticized the study, arguing glyphosate has been widely studied for decades and accepted as safe by organizations like the EPA and others like it around the world.
Pretty much everybody uses it. I use it. I will continue to use it, and I would highly recommend that anyone who is currently using it, as long as you read the label and follow directions, you're safe.
Again, the International Agency for Research on Cancer categorized glyphosate one rank higher than possibly carcinogenic to humans. That category contains coffee and cell phones. The value-added co-op in the upper Midwest has seen success and failure. The Golden Growers Co-op had their annual meeting yesterday in Moorhead. Their CEO says business and the co-op is good.
We have many members who deliver to the cooperative or to the plant down in Wahpeton. Cargill leases it, and our lease is up in about 3 years, so we're paying a lot of attention to what's going on in the market with regard to the products that plant produces, like HFCS and corn meal, corn gluten feed, and that kind of stuff. So we're watching that very closely, trying to get a handle on what the utilization of corn wet milling is around the country. In terms of the cooperative, things are working well. Our operating expenses are down. Doing some changes. We're actually going to move our offices from downtown Fargo to West Fargo, and that's a little change for us. But everything seems to be working very well.
Stofford says the lower price of crude oil means less for fuel cost and energy costs for the plant, and the lower price of corn means a higher profit margin for the co-op. Another annual gathering of farmers happens today and tomorrow at the Fargo Dome. It's the International Sugar Beet Institute, which is the first opportunity for growers to get excited for the upcoming growing season.
Trying to fine-tune the rhizoptonia management. We have an excellent seed treatment. They want to know, do we really need post-application for susceptible varieties compared to the more resistant varieties? So we're looking at that to see how we can kind of focus what do we need, when do we need it, and how we can use the varieties in some instances. Are they capable of standing up alone, or do they need a fungicide? Which is the best one and the best time to apply it?
Our key insect pest really throughout a good portion of the Red River Valley is on the rise. The sugar beet root maggot is more and more of a concern. Did some looking back at historical data the last few years, and between 2011 and 2014, our populations in our trapping network that we run every year have more than doubled. So that's a major concern. So one of the things we're trying to do in these meetings, these seminars, is to really coach the growers to manage populations and really optimize the ways we control them.
Again, the Sugar Beet Institute at the Dome today and tomorrow. Presentations include Luther Marquardt of the American Sugar Alliance and Mark Seeley, Minnesota State climatologist, with a weather outlook for the growing season today. Farmers transferring anhydrous ammonia to and from nurse tanks need to have proper documentation. Ag Commissioner Doug Goring says users need to provide a written notification to the North Dakota Department of Ag, their county commissioners, and the county emergency manager. While there isn't a fee, personal contact information and a description of where you're making the transfer is required at least 30 days in advance. All right, time is 4:43. Taking a break, coming back and checking the forecast for today. It's a windy, wet one. We'll be right back.